we have to do is make a new language. I'm going, right? Wow. It's a lot of fucking work.
That's using the language doesn't mean anything.
But you see, in Italian, they don't use the word my, so they go,
Really?
I'm going to go to the car. They don't go, I'm going to go to my car. So the my is very exorbitant in English.
Yeah, me.
So obviously it keeps pointing to the owner of shit. And you know, the language, because you're, not you, but there's a hearing of it. And you know, if you heard, just look what they do with people, like, just look at Fox News, not as a thing. People who listen to Fox News all day think like 75% of shit that's told isn't true. I mean, they've been indoctrinated into taking a new narrative, yeah? Because of constant fucking repetition. What do you think this is doing all day? And you think, oh, well, I'm not like a Fox viewer. Yes, you are in a way. You are all programmable as the action figure. We take, you know, they're being affected isn't like from 4 to 7. You know, those may be the most intense times, but it's all the time. And then what happens is the stuff gets put in, and because of the self-centeredness, you take ownership. You don't. That program takes ownership of shit it has nothing to do with. And then it will fucking fight a war over it, really. You know what I mean? And vote against your own interests, tons of things. It overrides all that shit. Yeah? So you're listening, there's a programming talking to you in English or whatever language it is, and it's talking pretty much all day. Like I just read, you remember we used to do the old 70,000 thoughts a day? Well, I think that research is still holding. I just saw something else about 50 to 70,000 thoughts a day. I mean, they're up to something. They're not being used to how to, buy curtains for your room. You don't need 70,000 thoughts a day. Yeah, they have an agenda. They're being used for something. Repetition inundates it through time. You know, you're constantly listening, to thoughts, and the thoughts have a pre-agenda arrangement in them. Yeah, as soon as the thought is noticed, there's the feeling of being the thinker. It's a sense gets produced. Yeah, and then that sense gets reinforced all day. So, and the language is the vehicle, obviously, because our way to conceptualize this world is it's sort of like like a mushroom fungus. Its collective connection is language, in a way. So the language brings like conceptual bubbles, and then they have meaning, yeah? Where animals and stuff don't get, they can maybe understand something, but we're in a very conceptual event. Yeah?
We think in language, don't we? I mean, that's our thoughts are based in language. And language is inherently dualistic. You can't speak without...
Exactly. It's subject-object. Yeah? So, basically, that's why they always bring you to the point, either cryptically or let's say scientifically. You can't use the system that produces the problem to get a solution to the problem. Yeah, it's just a fundamental, this is what's escaping me. We want to go off on metaphysical subtleties, but we don't get the A, B, and C of things. Yeah? The A, B, and C of things is how things are mechanized. And how it's mechanized is, if you don't see it, you're looking from it. You're looking from the mechanization. Yeah, because the mechanicalness implies something. And then you live in that something it implies. It's a sense. It doesn't say a bondage to self, it's really a sense of self. The sense of self is the sense of doership. The sense of seeing, hearing, feeling, the owning, the doing of consciousness, really. Because there's a feeling like you're seeing. Yeah? And because it feels like you're seeing, there's a certain power that's assume that isn't true. Like, I don't have to see shit, but you do. If your eyes are open, you're going to see what's ever there. You know what I mean? But the story that you have some say still runs contrary to tons of evidence. I mean, you could sit here and go, all right, let's get back to the basic. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Everyone goes, oh, well, yeah. That seems like what I do all day. See, which is all, you just proclaimed the problem right there. So there's a feeling like you're doing the seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Why would you want to get into the intricacies of spiritual fucking whatever when the fundamentals are off? I mean, the fundamentals are off. It's like bizarro world. So you have to have a little bit of a rotation at least. And of course, when the rotation occurs, it tells you there's no need for it because all the other shit was just imaginings. It didn't make it so. It just was seeming to be so. Things don't seem to be so. They seem to be so to us. You see, we're the arbiter. We give everything the meaning it has. So when we're not feeling well, it seems like the world is bleak and dark. When we're feeling good, oh, it's bright. Do you think it has a dimmer? And there's no light. There's no production company running the lighting of how you see the world. Dim, bright. You know what I mean? It's us. Yeah. So here, all right. Let's say there's 4 fundamental platforms. Yes? And they're produced by the claiming. So the mental state arises, admits what's happening, and then claims the story. It makes a story out of it, which is the seeing definitely implies a seer. Yeah. Now I'll give you, there'll be a lot of different scenes, but the seer will always be the same. This is the trick. You see a lot of different things all day, but it's you always being the seer. Yeah? So, tons of things seen, but only one seer. What's that? Everything seen reinforces the one seer. Everything. The more the better. Yeah? If there was only one thing to see, it would be hard for it to keep fucking implying the seer. It would be. Yeah? But because there's thousands of things, thousands of advertisements are better than one. Thousands of robocalls are better than one robocall. Because someone's gonna fucking pick up. Yeah? That's all they're looking for. Obviously, they know no one wants to get a fucking robocall, then why do they keep fucking doing robocalls? It's probably proven in a weird way they're somewhat successful because you can just make an automatic fucking algorithm. You're not paying anyone to make the calls and just fucking inundate people. The poor person, oh, your social security has been stopped. Ah, you know, they call up the number and then bam-o, they get the person's cash. It's not like it's a working system, is it? Oh, that was a really good robocall. No, they're fucking, yeah. You answer it, it's amazing. You don't say anything, it doesn't kick on right away. You sit there, and then as soon, it's a lot of it's voice recognition. You go, hey, and oh, hello, I'm your new trip advisor. Well, I'm not on a fucking trip. I am, literally, but I don't need you as an advisor of the trip. Yeah, I've got enough advisors of the tripping. So, the 70,000 thoughts, 50,000 thoughts, who cares? Do you think, all right, what's required of a Saturday, a rainy Saturday, Marin City, Marin County, 2019, bank account isn't that bad, not ill. Am I going to need 50,000 thoughts to navigate a fucking day in Marin? Whole Foods. Equator, Bed Bath & Beyond, Netflix. I mean, it's going to be just a different combination of the same bases. I mean, there's not 50,000 bases, are there? 7, maybe. So really, if it was purely functional, there'd be maybe 20 thoughts. Certain days, maybe 50. Alert, alert, 50 thoughts. But 50,000? There's got to be something going on with 50,000 thoughts because it just doesn't seem appropriate for a Saturday in Marin City. It just doesn't. Yeah? And I'm giving you the conservative number. They're saying 50 to 70,000. 70,000. All right, I've got to navigate the day. I'm not having to kill anything. It's not survival, you know? I just got to, oh, I ran out of milk. It took 2 thoughts. Oh, ran out of milk, Whole Foods. Not 50,000 more, but you have this narrative all day. I'm going to Whole Foods. Why am I fucking going to Whole Foods? It was, they didn't leave enough milk. I hate when people only leave 2 drops in the carton, because you see the carton thinking there's milk and there's not milk. And it goes off, and then suddenly the one thing triggers tons of like confetti, like you're always in the fucking parade, yeah? Just kind of mental minutia just raining down. Yeah? This is insane. Just get to the fundamentals, yeah? Does your head narrate life from the noun-verb perspective? Just simple, basic thing. Look at it right now. Yes, obviously, this is taken to be the noun, yeah? And the noun has been verbing. There you go. Non-duality, you're interested in non-duality? Are you really? Well, it's a negation of that. That's what non-duality negates, is the sense of being a subject in an objective world. That's what it is. It's saying not to. Really, let's get to the fundamental. Subject-object, feeling, the sense all day, yes? All the seeing used to imply one seer. All the doing, one doer. All the thinking, one thinker. Yes? Yeah, all day. Yeah, so non-duality is just saying not to. Yeah, that isn't going on. The whole basis of that is not true. It doesn't get into the particulars. It doesn't. Oh, look at all the species of thoughts I have. Look, I've been growing this one fucking hybrid thought, a good thought with a little bad thought, with a little spice. And then my super bad sauce, which is I can't tell anybody. You know what I mean? It's insane. All right. Is there a subject-object modality? Are you going to change that subject-object modality as the subject-object modality? Are you? Have you? No. There you go. It's number 2 fundamental. Yeah? That which is in can't get out. So how do you get out? Realizing you're not in. That's the whole way. Yeah? So the not to doesn't say, oh, you're screwed and this is how to get unscrewed. It's just negating the screwed and unscrewed, because you're in both events. You're the one who's screwed and you're the one who's unscrewed. Yeah? It's negating that. Not denying it. The mental state denies it to reinforce the subject-objectness. That's the problem. The mental state doesn't negate it, it denies it, and that doesn't work. A negation is clear and clean. You see it's happening, but the impliedness is not what's happening. There isn't a you, yeah? There's an a you being implied, but there is no you. Yeah? So now you see it. It doesn't have to stop. If you're waiting for it to stop, you're waiting as the system for the system to stop. And these are all the warnings you run into in spirituality. They're not in every page, but they're peppered in there. Yeah? You can't use yourself to find yourself. These are why? Because it's not personal. It's not like you're at fault and you're disabled and so you can't use yourself to find yourself. No, it's a fact. You can't use yourself to find yourself. Yeah? So what happens? The mechanism is on, obviously, yeah? And it believes in time, yes? And so onness in time is a movement. So onness now gets moved through time, yeah? So now the seeing, which is awareness, yeah? Seeing in time is a way of looking. And that way of looking, there's an intention in it. You're looking for something, yeah? It's not just seeing, you're not gazing, there's looking. You're shopping, right? So the looking, the seeing bastardized by time, yeah, is looking. You can't use the looking, aka seeing, to look for the seeing. Because you're using the seeing, aka as the looking, to look for itself. That's why it doesn't work. Now, when you hear these things, see if they land. It landed on me when I heard it. When I heard you cannot use the Buddha to seek the Buddha, pretty much it was freaking over. Because I heard it as the Buddha. Not as Paul, as the Buddha. Yeah? I wasn't chanting, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. It wasn't a fucking thing I did. I came across it by chance, seemingly. I read it, it hit, and it disarmed me. It disarmed the mechanism. The mechanism was confronted with an existential problem in and of itself. It can't fucking pull it off. The mechanism can't get it. It's always gonna produce a sense of Paul. Yeah. No matter what it runs into, it's gonna turn it into how it relates to Paul. Yeah. So you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. If it's heard by Paul, it will mutate into weird fucking shit. Like you'll give up Buddhism and throw away 30 years of practice, but as what you're not. It doesn't go anywhere. But if the Buddha hears it, hey, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. There's no fucking taking all, maybe there would be, but usually not the case, taking all my possessions and money over to a cliff and throwing it all off. But I'm free, but you're not. There you are. You're the one who threw everything off. You're still there. Yeah? So it doesn't look like out of a movie. It's just like, oh. The futility of using yourself to find yourself hits. You're just like whack, whack. That's why we use the word Zen bit slap. Yeah? Whack. You get whacked. Oh, the thing regroups, whack again. It can only take a few shots. There's going to be a point where its response, its reaction will be, and then something will settle in. Yeah? It will. Something will land. And then you'll see the subject-objectness, not from the subject-objectness, but before it. You'll see it. You'll see it, and it will fucking finally make sense. Now, is it going to make you feel great? Probably not. Because what's going to happen is, this thing has pumped in a lot of false hope. It's pumped in a lot of specialness. It's pumped in, I don't care if it didn't work for anyone else, it's going to work for me, because I'm special. I'm unique. Yeah. And when that starts deteriorating, it's a bummer for the system. The system is putting in a lot of hope and a lot of, a lot of hope, let's say. And then when it gets flattened out, it's not a happy day for the action figure. The action figure says, what's the point? You know what I mean? But it needs that to get reconfigured. If you're taking in knowledge and yet the system keeps moving, it's used as fuel. Yeah, it's just burning up to be more Paul. Yeah, but when it gets stopped and shit lands, what happens? The hit happens, and then the knowledge dissipates. It's not necessary. It's just you whack it. It gets to the innermost, and the innermost deals with everything. And then maybe you get some regurgitated, or so that when someone's really fucked up, you can say, hey, what's not happening? You know? You may have some ways to communicate people when they're up the ass of self. You know? Is anyone up there? No. You know what I mean? Yeah? And so you get used here. For what? Maybe for the dream to get happier for each and every one of us, so we can get out of it faster, really. Yeah. And of course, when they say the dream is going to get happier, it doesn't mean it's going to be an eternal dream. It isn't. This is finite. The idea of you is finite. It's going to dissipate. It maybe has 80 years, 90 years at the most. Yeah. It has thank God it was allotted a certain amount of fuel. And it doesn't give a shit what your story is. It's running out. Yeah. It's running out. And when it runs out, when it thinks that thing which is identified or is of the body and brain, thinks it's going to jump to another body and brain, it's going to be sorely mistaken. You're never going to hear from it again. All you're hearing from it is now. Yeah. When there's no more hearing from it. It's a voice box from here. So in a way, there's like 3, 4 major little bizarro worlds. One is, many of us believe we're out of the moment, or can be out of the moment. We do, yes? We believe the thought system can take us out of the moment. We've given shit a lot of fucking power. We believe if we're feeling really fucking not available, that means we're out of the moment. It's all baloney. You cannot be out of any moment you're in, ever. All right, so let's get that established. It doesn't matter how it looks. You can't be out of any moment you've ever been in. It's impossible. Yeah, you are the moment. Without you, there's nothing that would be observed. There would be no experience. There'd be no having or losing. Nothing without you. Yeah? You're the ingredient. You're the basis of the moment. So you can't get out of the moment. So why would you sign up for that fucking constant journey? Because the TripAdvisor of how to get into the moment is also a very critical coach. Because if you're not in the moment in a sufficient way that it recognizes it, you're out of the moment. Yeah? You can't be out of a moment. Also, that which you're wanting to get out of, you can't be in. Yeah? The idea of being Paul and all the stories of Paul that I'd really like to get out of, I can't get out of it because I'm not really in it. Yeah? All the getting out of it is one of the biggest stories that for us, yeah, is the untold story. We don't see that role. We think getting out of it is the only fucking strategy there could be. I've got to get out of me. I've got to get some fucking relief. We don't realize the wanting to get out of it reinforces it. It's just that simple. You're not doing it consciously, it happens. Because if you're trying to get out of something, you must believe it's real. And so there it is. Yeah. So all you're getting out is reinforcing the reality of being in. What non-duality does is starts you before there and see you've never been in. No matter how it tells you, informs you, oh, you're really in it today, or wow, you're less in it than yesterday. All of these gauges and distances and miles of closer and far, all made up. Yeah? You, what you are, everywhere can't budge. You don't understand? Everywhere can't be moved out of any space. It's the context. You can't make you think you're in a special somewhere that has the everywhere out. It's all made up. All the content never leaves the context, ever. Yeah. So we're trying to get out of what we can't be in, and we're trying to get into what we can't be out. There's 2 major platforms, just there, yes? Just find the basic ones. We'll share them together, yeah? I can inform you of some of them. Maybe you'll find others, but it's a finite number. There's only a few ideas, and then it gets riffed on, yeah? And it has time to riff, so like a little note can be extended for a long fucking time, yeah? So there's just like a little note, like when you used to play guitar, they have a reverb. So you'd hit a note and then it would keep reverbing and you add another note. Well, this is what it's like. The memories, the thought system, they're always reverbing. You're constantly being remembered. Yeah? It's finite, it's going to end, but it just keeps, like they say, geometrically progressing has to have time to do it. So it just progresses, yeah? The selfing. All right? So maybe, just maybe, if you look at a dream tonight, seriously. And let's say, like last night I had a dream of about a left-wing journalist and I couldn't remember who it was. Just a little, that's what I came out of it with, yeah? Mm-hmm. Or you can have a 300-year epic, yeah? Yet when you wake up, it's the same amount of time. So a 300-year epic of a dream doesn't cause you to have to take a month of waking up, does it? Because time doesn't fucking matter. It only matters in the dream of 300 years. When you wake up from that dream, you wake up from time. Yeah? Just like if you have a 5-second gulp and that's all you have in a dream, it'll take as much time as it would the 300-year dream to wake up from. You wake up, time doesn't fucking matter, obviously, yes? It mattered in the dream, 300 years, I was Cleopatra, I was this, I was that. But when I woke up or some other modality was possible, it did what? It negated the reality of what was taken to be real, yes? Come on. Let's not go this way, go back. Go before it and see, all right, dreamt of 300 years, woke up in a second, dreamt of 5 seconds, woke up in a second. It doesn't seem the waking up has anything to do with the amount of time I was in the dream, does it? Voila. So why are you bringing time into the waking up? The time you're waking up is an inherent condition. You're not going to wake up. You are awake. You're going to have rude awakenings that you're not that which wants to wake up. You're not, yeah? That which wants to wake up is believing an insane idea that it's not awake. Yet its whole day is based on awakeness. What is consciousness? What is consciousness being on to whatever arises, yeah? We only have 5 windows to peer out, but you could have 80 windows. Yeah? Right now we just have seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, but you don't think there could be 90 of them, 1,000 of them? The consciousness isn't defined by the window it goes through. Yeah? It's sort of like, here's the sunlight, you have 5 windows in your room, so you think the sunlight is this size, it's 2 by 4, and it's so easily, I can block it with a curtain, fucking shade. Yeah? But outside, all there is light. Yes? The fundamentals go to, like in AA we say, keep it simple. Yeah? Well, the simplicity is, you're fucked. And your managing can't get itself out of that. Yeah? That's the simplicity of it. So you're convinced that any move on you is part of the locking of the fucking handcuffs. So what's one to do? I don't know. You'll find out. But first, if you don't find out the futility of this, you better believe it's constantly going to be implied that you're the one that's working it out. Yeah? And so the bondage migrates from the seemingly active problem to the solution quite easily. The bondage is of self. The bondage is not of alcoholism, and it's not of recovery. The bondage is of self that has a story. It was an alcoholic and has a story that it's recovered. The bondage of self continues. The voice that was talking to you when you were getting loaded is still talking to you when you're sober. That didn't get shut off. You didn't get a new addition. It just learned, you took away a lot of playing field from it. You didn't, but life took a lot of the playing field away, so it can't be doing on a grand scale what it used to do, but it's still insidiously fucking working it, yeah? Yeah. I was at a meeting the other day, and the meeting hall, there was people working on the roof. And I said, this is a perfect audio example. So here you are at this meeting, but what's caused you grabbing all the attention and interest is all this shit happening on the fucking thing. That's their manufacturing misery. That's what the head's doing. But you think you keep claiming it to be your. We're not manufacturing misery. Our facility is being used to manufacture misery. And the same facility could be used to manufacture serenity and peace and understanding and empathy and compassion. It's not a one product fucking thing. Yeah? It's just who's running the factory. And right now we're seemingly possessed, or the emblem of the whole engine and car is you. The idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. You know? Is it true? That's all. One second of acknowledgement in time can have an infinite amount of download, really. It can erase a lot of time. Timelessness can erase a huge swath of time, huge. because time is just a construct. Yeah, timelessness is the condition. Yeah, yeah. So get set. You know, you'll be reconfigured, and then you'll be aligned. Let's say, yeah, and then blue will be blue, and red will be red. You'll be awake to being awake, basically. There's not a huge parade. It isn't. The town doesn't throw you a giant celebration. It's just, it's really completely not normal, but if it's every day at all times and you call that normal, then it's normal. Yeah. It's normal, you're awake. Yeah. So I want to read this again. People who've heard it before. Just Sharon, I don't think, hasn't heard it, and maybe you haven't heard it in a while. The Course in Miracle part I love, because it's one of the most perfect negations, because it describes all the mechanicalness of what we're not. Hopefully that what we are right now will hear it, yeah? Because it will sound pretty good, familiar. So here, yet we have heard a very similar description earlier, but it was not of you. You see? All we do here is describe what we're not. To get a description of what you are and what it's going to be like is a bad deal. You much rather find out what it's like than to have a description. The holding of the description will neuter it. Yeah? You'll think it's too small or whatever when it arrives, because you have a preordained idea of a package. Yeah? So it says very clearly here, so somewhere before in this book, we heard a similar description earlier, but the description was not of you. Yeah. So what is the dilemma? When we hear the descriptions, we think it's of us. Yeah, but it's not of us. Yeah. But still, this strange idea, which is that? You being the doer, the thinker, the feeler. Yes? The strange idea, which it does accurately describe, you think is you. That's the dilemma. I would say there's a thinking of it, that there's a thinking it's you. You don't do it, I don't believe. You don't. But there's a thinking of you, or as you, yes. So it goes, reason would tell you, or you could use the word wisdom, right? In the Course they use reason would tell you many times, but you could say wisdom would tell you that the world you see, yeah, the world you see out here, through eyes that are not yours. What? So I'm seeing, can't deny that, but he's saying, well, they're not denying either. They're just disclaiming the eyes as yours. They're going, you're seeing this world through eyes that are not yours. What would that say? Well, maybe there's a ghost in the machine. They're describing the machine, and it ain't a description of the ghost. Yeah? So we're sitting here, there's Buddha and Chris here. We're hoping, or let's say ghost and machine, we're hoping to get the message not to the machine, yeah, but through the machine to Chris. We want to talk to the ghost about the machine, not the machine about the ghost. It doesn't go anywhere. Because at this moment, the ghost may be taking itself to be the machine. So we don't want to talk to the machine as if it's the ghost, because it ain't. We want to talk to the ghost about the machine. So that the ghost goes, wait a minute, this sounds pretty familiar. And maybe that will lead to, hey, I can't be that if everyone else seems to be that. How could this be a special, unique, individual character when it sure seems like we were produced in the same factory? We're all Fords, but we have Chevrolet, Peugeot things, but we run and smell. And yeah, if you got into any other car, you'd say, this car drives just like mine. There's 50 models, but one car. We all have the programming of terminal uniqueness to some degree, and so we think no one thinks like we do, or drives like we do, or smells like we do, or brakes like we do. But if you got in another person, you'd see the exact same mechanisms, exact same. The flavor is contrived or made up, like the secret sauce is made up. Yeah. So All right, so reason would tell you that the world you see through eyes, so we're not denying that, yes? All right, yeah, I see the world through eyes, yeah? But here's the negation. It's so beautiful. So you're seeing this world through eyes, no argument there, but through eyes that are not yours. Yeah, oh, wait a minute. Now, so it's open. All right, yeah, isn't it? You see it? See how where it's directing the message to? It's beautiful, really. It's describing what we think we are and then giving it a zinger each time at the end, but it's not you. Surely you would understand this. Like, it's fucking obvious, isn't it? Reason would tell you that the world you see through eyes that are not yours must make no sense to you, obviously. Yeah. Sometimes the description or the narration from these eyes that the brain takes in the information seems like a narrative like from 1968. It's so off. And even if you looked at your day as the machine, and then you looked at the narration of your day, there's sometimes, like you were really busy, but your head keeps telling you, so you don't do enough, you don't do it. But if you just looked at, I got up, I ate, I made this, you did a whole fucking lot. But no, so we're not even close. Yeah? And it's just unbelievable that there's not enough evidence to convince us. That's the thing. It's because you're trying to convince the system and you're wasting fucking time. I know people who are in recovery, have a clearness to them, 32 years, but they came from some place when they were younger, and they still have a total fear of not being taken care of. Every fucking day. Overrides 30 years of demonstration of things are working. It's not going to come about by, oh, let's weigh. Oh, yeah, it doesn't. The scale is biased. Yeah? The system is reinforcing and supporting its fucking existence. Yeah? And if it thrives in the fear that it's never going to be taken care of, so there has to be reliance on it and its thoughts, it's going to just not see all the fucking evidence that proves something contrary to it. Mm-hmm. So you should figure this out soon so you stop waiting for it to get it. Mm-hmm. Because it has an intention not to get it. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So, to whom would seeing such as this, yeah, this is great. To whom, so it says this must make no sense to really what you are. So it goes, to whom would seeing such as this send back its messages? Yeah? So is the narration or the interpretation of this event from the machine, to whom is this interpretation being sent back to? The machine. The machine's view reinforces the machine having the view of the machine's view. Yes. So here, to whom would seeing such as this send back its messages? Surely not you. Yeah. But then people say, but some of those messages get, no, fucking none, zippo, nothing. There's no fucking degrees in miracles, there's no degrees in illusion. It's either illusion or not. There's no like, oh, that's a lot of an illusion, and that's a little illusion. Yes? Yeah. To whom would seeing such as this send back its messages? Surely not you, whose sight is wholly independent, whose sight, yeah, sight, awareness, yes, whose sight is wholly independent of the eyes that look upon the world. So when they're speaking about seeing in spirituality, it's not eyes, it's not vision, it's seeing, it's awareness, yeah? It's onness. Not mechanical onness, yeah? Whose sight is wholly independent of the eyes that look upon this world, yes. If this is not your vision, this is beautiful, because this is the whole point we're trying to get across. If this is not your vision, what can it show to you? It can show to you it's not your vision. That's the beauty of this place. It tells you what you're not all day. It's constantly informing you, I'm not that. Because it's constantly being implied you are that. So you get to see what you're not all day. And it's in the seeing of what you're not, the seeing, not visually, seeing of what you're not is what you are. You're the awareness of what you're not, let's say. You're not what you're not as aware, you're the awareness of what you're not, assuming that it thinks it's aware. Yeah, yeah. So this is the most beautiful, I mean, if you went to a purely functional, basic, platform talk, this would be a clincher in some respects, yes? So here, if this is not your vision, what can it show you? The brain, yes, an advanced fucking organ, the brain cannot interpret what your vision sees. So the brain cannot interpret what your vision sees. It interprets what your eyes have been programmed to see, which is a dreaming, yeah? But it cannot interpret what your vision sees, because there's no need for interpretation of the vision. It stands in and of itself. It doesn't need an interpretation. That's when you hear it, it's like an unspoken yes or something. You just know. Because you do know. You don't need, oh, can I be the knower? None of that. You just know. Yeah? So here, the brain cannot interpret what your vision sees. This you would understand. The brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. So now you've gotten to the center of the mechanism, the action figure, the brain, and the center of the action figure, the working fucking thing, yes, is interpreting everything that's being brought into it through this to the body. Why? Because it's a part of the body. It can't see anything other than seemingly as the body. You're not going to break that source code as a body. You might as well just give up. Yeah.
That brings to mind, speaking of on the subject of seer and seen, which was my sort of belief all along, that object of seeing is clearly not true, because it's, like you said, seen from the perspective that's false. You know, your programming and conditioning and all that. Now, seer is also dubious, just as you said, because it's, you know, it's kind of arguable who the heck you are and what you are. And the only thing that's true is the act of seeing, what you call verbing.
Yes.
That's true, and seer and seen are dubious. Neither one of them is real.
Yes.
But seeing itself is what's happening.
Yes, so Huang Po did a very beautiful one, saved us a lot of time. It says, whatever can be perceived, which is these objects, can't be that which is perceiving, which gives to the object, because the object thinks it's the perceiving. Yes? So Huang Po just took that from underneath it. Whatever can be perceived, so I'm seeing that, therefore that can't be what's perceiving, because I'm seeing it. Yes? So we're all off the game board. It's so beautiful. Yes.
It makes me think of the experiment in the brain about the brain taking objects as itself, where they show the rubber hand and they put a veil over it, and then they stroke the hand and they touch it, and you're looking at the rubber hand, they keep using the rubber hand, they take a hammer and they smash it, and the person goes, ah!
Yeah.
But it's not their hand, they just...
Of course, the brain, exactly. They have phantom legs. When you use it, you still keep feeling it, because the brain hasn't got the message yet. The brain just sees you as a blueprint. Yeah? So let's say the leg gets cut off, it still sees you as the same blueprint. So it's feeling and shit like that, but there's no fucking thing here. It's like virtual reality. It's a trip. So here he goes. So just hear it, yeah? The brain interprets to the body of which it is a part. So obviously, information is being gathered, goes through the brain, and it's collated, and it's what fucking highlighted or prioritized to reinforce the body as it, yes? This is the whole point, is you can't get out of you as you. Yeah. Now, you can learn that through 20 years of practice, or you can learn it here in Marin City. Yeah? So, but what it says you cannot understand, yet you have listened to it. And I would add, you know, ad nauseum, whatever. You can listen to it, yeah. And long and hard you tried to understand its messages, yeah. You have not realized, well, let's say we all have now. Yeah? Let's say we're going to move ahead in this because we have realized, everyone here. You have now realized it is impossible to understand what fails entirely to reach you. Yeah? So you've now realized the GPS has a very limited map. Let's put it that way. Yeah? You always drive back to it. It's always seen as home and destination. Wherever you go, it's always you. Yeah. So you have not realized it is impossible to understand what fails entirely to reach you. You have received no messages at all you understand, hopefully for this one, for you have listened to what can never communicate at all. And that's true. If you listen to the head, it just narrates, critiques, goes over shit. It doesn't communicate whatsoever. Yeah? Think then what happens. I would cut out the think. Then what happens. But the thinking is, yeah, this is exactly what happens. Yeah? Denying what you are. Now, no one in this room would say they're in the act of denying what they are. But in fact, we are. Yeah? Denying what we are and firm in faith that you are something else. Or you could flip it around. Firm in faith you as being something else is denying what you are. Really? Yeah. So we can see the product of the faith. So let's start there. So firm in faith in believing what you're not is the denying of what you are. By what? By what you are. It's what you are denying itself by being identified as what it's not. What it's happening. Yeah. Think then what happens, denying what you are and firm in faith that you are something else. This something else, this is great, that you have made, yeah, beautiful. This something else that you have made, or we could say, this something else that we are making, yeah, because it's always constantly making. You never make it, it's making, yeah. It's selfing. It never completes the mission of being a self. It's selfing. Yeah? So there's a making. So the system is constantly in the act of being identified as a self. That's the making of self. Or you want to call it the something else. Yeah? Yeah. Think, all right, denying what you are, firm in faith that you are something else. This something else that you have made to be yourself, hey, fuck, becomes your sight. So now this becomes your sight. The awareness becomes underemphasized, and you see what you see, hear, feel, taste, and touch is the reality. Yeah? This is real. Yeah, yeah. There's something else that you are made to be yourself becomes your sight. Yet, it must be the something else that sees, and as not you, explains its sight to you. There goes your narrative. The machinery is explaining its view to the ghost with the hopes that the ghost will buy some of it and fucking enliven the machine. You hear it? It's so beautiful, really. Because what does it do? Just this, you rip up and you put up your spiritual armor on? No, it's disarming. You realize it's catching you. It's like catching the emperor with no clothes. I mean, it's just telling you, yeah, yeah. So here, you explains its sight to you. Your vision would, of course, in other words, awareness, would, of course, render this quite unnecessary. Yeah? Just if the awareness was first, if the horse was in front of the cart, which is the interpretation, narration, that would make it unnecessary. You'd be directed by awareness, not thought. You wouldn't need the old GPS. Yeah? Your vision would, of course, render this quite unnecessary. Yet, if your eyes are closed and you have called upon this thing to lead you, yeah, asking it to explain to you the world it sees, you have no reason until now not to listen. nor to suspect that what it tells you is not true. Yeah, that's the dilemma. Well, now that's been broken. Now you can sit with the fact, you've heard the message, that the shit that's being narrated up there, all the statistics, all the fucking whatever, all its graphs, all its like, whatever you call those, visual points, whatever, its presentation of you and the world that you are, right, is erroneous. There's nothing right or wrong with it, it's just flat out not true. Yeah. And you stop arguing with it as the system, you see you're not that, and now your relief from it isn't based on escaping, it's based on never being in it. That's what it's based on. And you know what? You're onto something. Because that relief stabilizes. If it's you getting out of it, it doesn't stabilize. It demands more fucking escape routes, more, and then it's sort of like viruses. They figure shit out, you know, and you can't get out, and you're more in than ever. But this is, you're out because you were never in. So there's no completing of the mission. There was no mission. Yeah, you can put down all the spiritual ropes and shit like that. Yeah, and then you'll see the shadow. Yeah. The fucking, its desire for relevance and uniqueness and specialness, and you'll see the addiction. You'll really see the addiction naked. You'll see the mental state is addicted to this idea of being a self. And it's not going to take any other answer, really. Yeah. So, are you that? No. Yeah, that's the good news. If you were that, it would be a hopeless condition. But it's a seemingly hopeless condition because you're not the condition. It's appearing to be hopeless, and in this sense, in this message, it's valuable. It's appearing to be hopeless is awesome. Because you'll stop fucking using its devices to try to find something. Yeah? Yeah, so to me it's awesome. That's a perfect place fucking to put the tent up and just fucking make a camp. So not once did he describe what we are, really. All it did was go on to how the mechanism produces the sense of self. It's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, beautiful, really. I didn't read this whole book. I've never been a student of anything, really. I'm like a speed reader. I go through stuff, it hits things, triggers stuff, and to me, mind is it. I don't care about knowledge. I want that triggering when the mind opens, yeah? Then there's no need for the freaking book. There's no need for this or that. You can enjoy them, but there's no need for it because the job has been done. Yeah, now move on. Yeah, and then see what happens. But let's get the fundamentals down. You get jackpotted because you're meeting non-duality down the tracks. Non-duality is not a fucking thing that pops in on the trip of selfing to be a skillful means. It's a fact. You've run into a fact. That's all it is, yeah? You can argue with it, you can try to use it, but basically, it's gonna frustrate the fucking hell out of you, frustrate you, with the hopes that you'll just stop, and then, wow, yeah. I don't know, biggest fucking obscuring agent. There's another platform, you better get it, or you're gonna be fucking, you're not gonna realize you're the, whatever makes the smoke, you know, in the concerts, the dry ice machine, whatever, you're it. Dude, I can't see. Because you want to see, that's why you can't see. If you give that up, or just give up that which can't give that up. Just give up that which can give it up. And just like fucking, you know, compassion will come in and acceptance, really. The thing, Jesus. If you were like a computer programming, they'd probably have a lot of fucking shit to say about this program. It's a pretty failed mechanism. It really is. And what it alludes to in thinking it's got a higher calling, it doesn't. It's just, yeah. So, I mean, yeah. What is it you want, really? Do you want to have knowledge of being free or free from knowledge? I'd rather go with the free from knowledge of being free. Yeah. Try to keep it as minimal as possible. And it's like a rawness, R-A-W, yeah? We think everything has to be pasteurized, homogenized, but it doesn't, yeah? And it has a very long shelf life, like the fear it's going to spoil. It's not going to spoil, yeah? Yeah. But you must know, don't you feel it? The mind gets triggered, then triggered, then triggered, and then there's leaps. It just leaps into something that all the triggering wouldn't accumulate to. Just a few triggers, and then the mind just goes, whoosh. Yeah? It's just, it has that, it is that, yeah? It is that. This, how it's being held can only work in time for 80, 90 years, really. It can't be captured, but it can be sort of denied, yeah? Seemingly forgotten by the emphasis of this, but it's just brilliant, really, you know? And, well, it doesn't need that many logs. The fire can go off very quickly, yeah? And then something gets established, and that's that. And then you have a new basis, and those platforms have changed to something more sound, yeah? And your key is you take the cue from now, really. Yeah? You're not looking for a past or future cue. You're just, you're in a dance, and you're just watching what steps evolve, yeah? Yeah, that's cool. All right, well, any questions today? Yeah.
It's like there's a mission aborted sign flashing all the time. Selfing can never see it. Or when it does, it just self-heart. When that sign is seen, it's seen by who we are. And it's seen that there was never any mission to be aborted.
Exactly, like there's a statement, famous book, called The Wisdom of No Escape. Now, I don't know what they meant, but one of the meanings to me would be, there's no escape from an imaginary place.
Right.
Yeah? See, if there was a need to escape, the wisdom of no escape would be something you'd like to fucking deny and not, yeah? But no, I think it's the wisdom of no escape is you can't escape from an imaginary place. That's pretty wise, yeah.
There's one of those slogans too, a teacher slogans, abandon the antidote.
Yeah, abandon the antidote, yes. But then again,
would have killed him.
yeah, but see, then though, humbly, if you're in a room of seekers, they're gonna feel like that's an order given to the you that now has to do something else, like abandon the antidote. So now it can go that crazy. Well, they'll stop taking their insulin, and they need it for diabetes because they're so identified as the body. I'm not gonna take, you know what I mean? It goes absurd lengths. Because a lot of times there'll be just an observation, but you hear it as an order. You know what I mean? Someone's observing, I cease fighting everyone. They think, okay, gotta cease fighting. I mean, it's just, we're misperceiving a lot, all the time, especially a lot of shit that's written, and the people are dead now. They're not here to say, hey, bro, like, I'm probably way off tons of shit, but I don't take anything literally. I just use shit to riff on. Yeah, that's, you know what I mean? I don't think anything is cast in gold. It may imply a goldness, so you want to riff on it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like this.
Abandon hope. Abandon.
You don't even abandon hope. That's not good for this. This thing needs a little level of hope. It doesn't, or you're going to set off an existential crisis for it. Yeah? It's a Toyota, but drive it a little gently. Ramming into fucking walls. You know what I mean? There's no hope. Oh, like, there's no purpose. And then people, retire and they kill themselves because their action figure identified with being the manager of the store, and now they're not managing the store and they're hopeless. You don't need that. It's not necessary. Just see what you're not. Yeah, like people say, this whole idea, the message occurs, and they start bringing it. Well, how does it apply to this? Austin in fucking New Mexico. Maybe I would question the command. You don't have to do that. Maybe if it's, maybe you have to do that. But I mean, it's not like I would question that voice telling me shit like that. But the same thing all the time. You can't kill this fucking thing. Maybe you can hit it so severely, but you'll be hospitalized forever. I may be in a coma. But basically, if you're 2 levels above a coconut, you're gonna have this with you, claiming and doing its little narration. Yeah, and I think you need to include that in, and then maybe you'll see the futility of trying to get out of you as that. Yeah. So far, 3 cups of that shit.
FDA just
I would have done it, really.
The FDA just fast-tracked psilocybin. I have 2 phase 3 trials. For major depressive disorder that has been.
And then it's going to become everyone. That's what's happening. Huxley wrote about it, right? Orwell and Huxley, right? In the old days. Orwell said it was going to be a boot on the neck, but Huxley, like the dystopia, like society going bad. It was both of them going to go authoritarian. One was going to be a boot on the throat, which was Orwell's view, but Huxley's was entertainment and drugs, which is actually Huxley. It seems to be coming that way. Yeah, people are microdosing tons of shit.
Bigger
So
screens.
we're all going to be fucking. We're going to be loaded all day.
Bigger screens. 1,000 more channels.
It's just going to be incredible.
I see my kid, my 5-year-old, man. If I give him the video screen, man, it's like,
totally.
Withdrawal.
Everyone. Every kid.
It's parenting nowadays. And some guy said, he wrote a meme, he said, I'll be dead in my coffin, and you look over and go, Dad, can I have a movie? I use it.
He'll probably see you and then look for the knob. Scroll down. I don't want to see Dad in the coffin. Scroll down.
Scroll past this one.
We have a little kid, Ruby. Amelia's watching, and then for a little while she'd put him in front, and the kid would just scroll, and he's not even 2 years old.
Wow. Taking pictures of your old.
The mental state loves
writing.
To me, it's Narcissus, and it's a mobile pond now. It's just constantly not the Ruby, but the mental state's looking at itself through the technology.
Going back to the ayahuasca though, it's kind of self-regulating.
I knew you were gonna go. You have so much hope that things are gonna be different.
No, because if you take too much, you throw it up. So I think he might have just had he
took tons of shit. I know, that's what he told me.
That's how it impacts you. You don't know a lot, but
you
can have 5 cups and you're just gonna have to laugh.
But some of it was.
If the foundation's not good.
Maybe that's what he needed. It's not might not have been a bad thing, right?
It can turn. No, I'm not saying it was bad or not. I just saw the extremeness in it. You know what I mean? Because I had that.
Being in a mental institution for 3 months is great.
No, he wasn't in the mental institution. He wasn't in the mental institution for 3 months. He was in there for a couple of days or a week, and then he moved. He's just gradually coming out of the condition because
to me,
of.
that's like being incarcerated. Being in a mental institution. It doesn't sound
Well, usually now that's what it means, because the mental institution in our countries are jails. There's not many mental institutions anymore. So that's the new mental institution, is prisons. The people are not getting any fucking care. Yeah, it's insane. Totally crazy. But
teaching meditation.
Everyone's gonna be loaded. Look at the pharmacies. I mean, so many people take so much shit, but the shit they take is worse than why they took it, and they can't get off of that shit. It's worse. The detox of some of these supposed solutions are unbelievable.
I went to the dog pound. We were gonna adopt another dog, and I started asking about each dog, every dog in the dog pound. I'm like, it's on gabapentin.
Really?
She goes, yeah. She goes, and I am too, and it's a good anti-anxiety. She goes, most of our dogs are on anti-anxiety drugs.
So they won't bark?
they're easier to deal with, you know? It's like-
Yeah, sure. That's what the manufacturers of Soylent Green, they're looking for that too. They'll be easy to deal with. Clean.
Well, that's a human, you're like, yeah.
Just have them watching the iPad and then you hit them with the hammer. Ting. Let's go. I wasn't done. I was just second year of Breaking Bad.
It's so bad out there. It's safer in here.
It must be, you know, people, because the whole place, really, if you look at it, you're bombarded with fucking frequency. Microwaves, cell phones, like that. It's really scattering the action figure. It is. It's causing a lot of disturbance. And it's like a noise stress and a fucking frequency stress. And they're not even close to becoming aware of it. You know, they think this is the polluting. The polluting is all the fucking frequencies being put off constantly.
I'm amazed that we function as a society to the extent we do.
Look at our
Like
president.
that, you know, like, if you look at like, something like going on a subway, like, it's really intense. Why isn't everybody going nuts? You know, but we kind of conform somewhat, but people just lose it. And
Well, we're adaptable.
We're adaptable somewhat, but we're not. Obviously, because we're drugging ourselves and we're,
Yes, well,
you
that's
know.
that. We're not adapting well, but they want us to adapt, whoever they are. They have, obviously now they're extracting information from you. You're the new resource.
what do you
Yeah.
mean?
Well, let's say like Facebook is like a mine.
Oh, right,
They're getting
Okay.
silver ore
Yeah.
called information out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a commodity right now. That they're, you know,
We're not
just like
batteries yet,
lithium.
we're the
and shit.
Matrix,
What?
we're in there.
Yeah.
They're not batteries,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
the Matrix.
So, hey, Bubba. Yeah.
Plus they got us to define, to accept.
You don't
what
care,
it
do
is
you?
to
That's the drug.
society.
That's the drug.
This dog knows exactly